Do you love to shop? I love to shop. Like, do you shop while you're working, while you're eating, or even while listening to this podcast? Yeah, we all do it. We all know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do, because they get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Nike, Bloomingdale's, and even Expedia if you're looking to travel. And you'll never miss out because you can even stack sales on top of your cash back. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back through PayPal or check. Rakuten is easy to use. Just download the free Rakuten app now and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Happy shopping!
Ah, the web tour. Those that both creators and were created by the threads disentangle from the fringes to feast on the very thing that spawned them.
What's up, Timmy? This is how you deal with weird!
No! Do not harm my children!
Oh, you lost a feather. Can I keep it?
No, you can't force me to!
Do you know what lies within nothing?
Rocket is in trouble, Akasa! Can we turn on the windshield remotely?
No, she could lose her job as an Akasar.
I don't fear Vehar.
No, but you fear me. If you intend to trick me, I will not hesitate to sever the oath bond entirely.
Why didn't you help me? Coward! I don't have a parachute! I don't like free falling!
Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.
So I was in South Carolina and I did this audition. I just put a sheet up, did the audition really quick, came back to LA and forgot about it, and then booked it straight off a tape. So then I was all packed and ready to go. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're pushing your shoot date till Friday. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we're pushing your shoot date actually until next week. And then it was like, actually, sorry, you don't have this role anymore. Okay, so I was just like, what's happening right now?
Whiplash.
I know, real whiplash. And then I was like, all right, well, let's just pay me out this contract and I'll go to Europe for like a month. I was trying to take everything in stride. And then about a week later, they were like, you know what? We made a really big mistake.
Hello, world, and welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Coming In. I'm your host, Jillian Clare. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the show where I speak to fellow actors about their journey in the film industry, and I make them share some audition stories with me. If you're not yet subscribed to the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. You can also follow us on social media. Those links are in the show notes, and see some exclusive content. I'm really buffing up the YouTube lately with clips from these interviews so you can see our faces. And there may be a very real possibility that in the future, the full episodes will be uploaded on YouTube. So subscribe now to make sure you see those. All right, let's catch up. I had a very exciting weekend. I got to officiate a wedding for some of the best people I know. It was a great time. I am a minister now, thank you to the Universal Life Church. And it was really cool and really great, and I loved it. And so congratulations to my dear Caroline and Conrad. I love you both. All right, what else can I tell you guys about? Oh, The Case Within, my fiction podcast that I co-created and produced and starred in with so many wonderful people, has been accepted into a couple of fun festivals. So we're going to the Toronto Web Fest, we're going to the Apulia Web Fest, which is in Italy, and I'm like, babe, who has the money to fly me there? I would love to go to Italy. And yeah, we're just kind of making the rounds, and it's really exciting. Makes us want to do a second season, which might happen. Not sure. We're discussing it. We will see. But if you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead and check that out. We're also going to be uploading those onto YouTube as well. And yeah, it's a really cool show, and I really loved making it. So I'm really excited to see all of this recognition happening for it, and for all the fantastic people who are such a large part of it. Before we go into the show, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our IATSE family and friends and say good luck on the ratification vote that should be happening in the next few days, I believe. I think it was the July 14th through the 17th. I hope that deal was good. I hope that the deal, quells any fears that you may have. I hope that it contains some major, major wins, because you guys deserve that. And if it doesn't and you don't like it, then we'll have your back then too. And that's that. But good luck on the ratification, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, let's jump into the show. Today on the show, I have Jillian Reeves. She has a brand new film called Sound of Hope, The Story of Possum Trot, which is in theaters now. She's done several things on the television. Grey's Anatomy, Young and Restless, CSI Miami. She's a director, she's a writer, and she shares a name with me. So that's, I think, all we need to know. And it was a pleasure to have her on the show. So here is my conversation with Jillian Reeves. And welcome to the show, Jillian.
Thank you, Jillian.
Oh my God, this is gonna be so fun. And we both spell it with a J, so
I know, right? I know everybody thinks it's a G. Like, why would you ever spell Jillian with a G? It doesn't make any sense.
I know. I'm like, that's Gillian. What are you talking about?
Right, exactly.
It's
where
like
are we?
there's Gillian Jacobs, and I think she deals with that all the time, where people try to call her Jillian, and she's like, no, it's Gillian.
You know what it was? Gillian Anderson. Remember her? She's
Yeah.
she's an actress in the UK now, but she used to do the X-Files, and I really think that's what started the whole confusion.
I think
But
so
now
too.
we're straightening it out, right?
Yeah.
So now
We
everybody understands it's with a J.
It's with a J, and it should be with a J, period.
Period.
Do you know where your parents found this name?
I do know. It was a soap opera, All My Children, apparently. And I think my brother might have been like, oh, that's a great name. And so that's where it came from. What about you?
Wow. So mine found it from in Star Trek IV, The Voyager Home. I don't know why. My mom's not even like a Star Trek person. My dad is, but they were watching it, and there's I think it's a whale trainer or something to do with whales. Her name's Jillian, but it's with a G in Star Trek, and they changed it to J because they were like, this looks better.
I love that they both were just like watching TV and making life plans for their children just off of whims, random whims.
How funny though that they've both our parents found our names while watching television, which is what we'd end up doing. Brilliant.
Gotta love it. Yeah, that's that old school parenting. That's not this new conscious parenting.
No.
That's like, just give her that name of that lady on that show. It's great. We'll do
I love
that.
it. Well, before we talk about all of the wonderful things that you have done and are doing, I'd love to kind of take you back to the beginning and ask my favorite question, which is, what made you want to be an actor?
All right. I know. Okay. I love this question because I never have a great answer. I'm so not one of those people that was like, you know what? I just always knew. And I was very shy. And then I went to college. I had kids early, went to college with the kids, did terrible my first semester. And they were like, you can't come back if you don't pull it together. And I was like, what? So the next semester I took like all easy classes because I was like, I gotta figure this out. And acting was one of them. And the acting professor was like, I think you have something. He's very dramatic. From Yale. I think you have something. And he cast me in my first play. And then I kept getting cast in plays. And then I changed my major to theater. And then I just kept doing it and moved to Chicago after that.
Wow.
And now in LA. So yeah, I feel like it sort of chose me a little bit rather than I chose it. But it's been working. So, we keep riding the horse in the direction it's going. I'm sure that's so not inspiring. I'm so sorry.
No, I think it's, it's not everybody is the, weird kid who puts on plays in their backyard. And that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I will say I always had an imagination. Like I think I probably with my Barbie dolls, they used to have concussions. I used to wrap their head in like tape and put the timer that used to be in those games. It would be like the IV bag, and I would have massive fantasies and like playtime. So So I guess now that you mention it, maybe it was always there and it just needed
It
time
just
to
was
come.
hidden.
My mom used to play bingo. I used to take this red bingo marker and just put it all over the Barbies' faces. They would be in ICU.
See, I was also obsessed with my Barbies. I cut my own bangs. Somebody left the scissors out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I cut my bangs diagonally, and then I cut my Barbies to match it.
I used to have braids in my hair. So my mom would have braid bangs. And one day I just cut them, just all different lengths, just high, low. And they were, what did you? So maybe that's just the nature of creative
I think
kids.
so.
Yeah.
We're like, what if we did this?
Destroying. Let me just destroy it and see what
Yeah,
happens. And then we'll
let's
just
see what
keep going.
happens. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
I want to see what's at the essence of this, right?
Yes, we were actually very philosophical. It was
For
not
sure.
destructive.
No,
It
the
was all
fire,
good.
all of it was learning lessons, seeing
Hmm.
how things work. And you know what? I'm still very curious today. And that's what you need as an actor. You need curiosity
Hmm.
and imagination. And so, yeah, I was full of those things very young.
Well, tell me about what it was like to, move to Chicago after college. You said you had children already at that time. So, I mean, what has that experience been like going after such a, large career?
Right. You know, I don't know if I ever thought of it as going after a large career. I just thought this is what I'm going to do next. I always
Hmm.
just was like, what's next? I'll just do that and then I'll do what's next. So I sort of always just saw it as I'm going to figure that out and I'll figure out the next step. So I moved to Chicago, which was a wild town coming from the small South. I first went there, so I graduated and I was like, okay, let me just go look at the town. I got to see what I got to figure it out. So I took like a duffel bag and a
Oh my
couple
goodness.
$100. And I took the Greyhound, which I don't know, maybe it's different now, but that was not a nice journey back then. Like, and I got to this city and I just was like, oh my gosh. But I just sort of got to work figuring it out, right? Like I did with those Barbies and their ICU plans, right? I just
Yeah.
always, I'm gonna figure it out. Don't worry about it. And I found my family was so lovely. I was like staying in a hotel downtown Chicago, scared out of my mind.
Oh my gosh.
Like, and it was like Blues Fest was going on, and my aunt was like, "My friend is coming to pick you up," because my family they are just always looking out, and so she had a coworker who had a sister who came and picked me up from the Loop in Chicago, and I stayed there for like the first 6 months while I got an apartment, enrolled in grad school, and did all that stuff. So I think there's something great about being young and having no idea that you shouldn't be able to do stuff.
Hmm.
uh, I think when you don't think um, that something is impossible, then you just go and do it. And so I think that's kind of what I've always done.
I love that. And I think it's also, for whatever reason, I think people with creative brains, we sometimes don't quite understand how big things are,
Oh,
because we're
yeah.
just constantly like, well, but I can do this and I can do this and I can do that and we'll
Right.
just do it.
And we can figure it out. I
Yeah.
always knew I could figure it out. Like
Yeah.
even now, like I travel a lot. I was in Japan in January, which I just went on a whim. I was leaving Bali and I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to Japan before LA, right?
Love
And I
it.
got there and it's massive, totally different culture. And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'll figure it out. That's okay. I just need a second. Give me a second here. I'm looking at this huge map of the city and it's just so overwhelming. And I'm like, I need a second, but I'm going to get it. And then I got it. So I do think there is, right, this confidence with knowing like you can just figure it out. You can
Hmm.
have creative solutions, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, there's something so powerful, I think, in that.
So what happens when you go to Chicago and you're, slowly figuring out your way as an artist? How do you navigate
Yeah.
all of that?
So I was in grad school, so that's great. So that was already some structure, right?
Hmm.
But then like I'm also navigating kids and school and like
Yeah.
that was I thought it was going to be more similar to the South.
Mm.
And it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Right? Like the kids get out of school, they start school really weird times. So I was juggling, man. And I sometimes was like juggling on the fly, but thankfully, I'm resourceful and God is resourceful, and we both use those. Like he would send. Like I remember I was at work and I realized, oh my gosh, I have to pick up these kids at like 3. I don't get off till 5. What am I gonna do? And I
Mm.
started looking through the Sun Time paper online, I think, and it was like an ad that said, "We watch kids and pick them up." And they were like 2 blocks from where I lived. And I called and I was like, "I don't know what to do because," and she was like, "Don't worry, we got it." It was just
Wow.
crazy things like that that have happened honestly all my life. My mama said, always used to say that God takes care of babies and fools. I'm not a baby, but I don't think I'm a fool.
I don't think
But
you're a fool.
right, but no, there will always be some little miracle that kind of was always also like this guiding light, like, okay, keep going this way. Like the universe, like God just supporting you in this ways. Because there were so many times I was like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna work. And then some crazy little miracle would happen. And I'm like, okay, I figured that out. What's next, right? And then because it's just what's next. So
Are you a West Wing fan?
Wild. Hmm?
Are you a West Wing fan?
You know what? I wasn't a huge West Wing fan, but I was a House of Cards and Scandal fan.
Okay.
We're
Well, in
always
West Wing, he always it's the president's like catch line. Martin Sheen, he always just says, "What's next? What's next? What's next?"
love it. That's it. Let
So,
me tell you something, and I think you get that when you have a lot on your plate. Like
yes.
so, when you're like following your dreams, and you're a mom, and you have to work, and you're this. And so the first time I directed, so I wrote and directed this film. I don't mean to jump, but I remember they're like, "What was it like being a director?" And I was like, "A lot like being a mom and working." Like you're just like, "What's next? What's the next problem?" Everybody's got a problem. Some actors tripping, so like, okay, you can't get your location. Oh, now you don't have this. Oh, now we have to do this in this time. So it's just solving problems. So I think any woman or any mom or any woman who's juggling a bunch of different things can be a great director. It's just putting out fires, making plans, revising plans, putting out fires.
Yeah. It really is that. I remember I've directed a few films as well, and I remember the first one. I was so nervous day one, and then once you got into it, it was like, oh wait. This is just like being a manager. Like I just need to do things, and I've already discussed my vision with the DP, and now I just got to focus on the actors and making sure that they're delivering their best, and the scene's going how it needs to go, and I'll just
and everybody
it's
feels
easy.
Everybody feels
good.
valuable. Yeah, like, oh, and now this, the lighting guy is encroaching on this. Okay, let's just get along, guys. We're gonna go, teach everybody how to play nice. And now, this one is like, this actor wants to be the star of the scene when they should really be over here. It's like, well, why don't we just have it? It is really managing personalities, managing time, managing locations, all while telling this grander story, right? And so I think that's why women make great directors, because I think we're really good at that kind of multitasking.
Here. Did you hear that at the Academy? Hello? Are you listening?
Exactly. Right. And all of Hollywood too, just FYI, everyone.
Everyone, hello? Are the studios listening? Hello?
You got 2 Jillians right here. It's
right
like,
here.
Yes, for a tag team, seriously.
Remember when a female artist or a female director put out like the largest film last summer?
Yeah.
So let's just remember? Hi.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, what was like, so you're in Chicago, you're in grad school, you're figuring all this out. What was the jump to LA? Like when was it that you cemented saying, okay, I'm really going to go for, professional acting. I'm going to go for the TV stuff. I'm going to do all that.
So first, I love that you are making it seem like my life had plans, and it's great. I love it. I just love it. In fact, I kind of want to tell you a story that sounds like what you just said, but what is the real thing that happened? I had to move out of my apartment, right? So I've been in Chicago for like 5 years, and I was like, okay, I kind of knew. Because then after grad school, I got an agent there and I started working. And so I would do acting stuff at night, and I had a regular corporate job during the day, which I was, I'm always really good at corporate stuff for about 2 to 3 months. And then you're so,
I feel that in my bones. It's like, if it lasts more than 6 months, I'm
like, you guys, I'm supposed to come here every day at 9.
Yeah, I have to be here every day. What do you mean?
You guys are insane. This is crazy. 1 day off a month for, like, we used to get sick days once a month. Like they would accrue, like the day it happened. I'm like, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to need
Sorry. I got to call out. Yeah. I hear that so hard.
But I actually ended up working in a great place that was like far more like, it was nonprofit, and we only had these big events in different cities 3 times a year, and so
that's cool.
But still, I could barely even do 9 to 3. I was like, this is madness. It's just,
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I had to move out of this apartment, I knew like, okay, if I move again in Chicago, I'm gonna probably just settled in Chicago. Like we'll be here. So if I'm gonna move to LA, this is the time. So something just told me like I need to make a choice now. If I move again, because that was like my second apartment, and 5 years later, and I went to New York, and it was, I don't know, the winter, and it was awful. So Chicago winters are already horrendous, right?
Yeah.
Like every winter, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Who even built this town? How did this happen? I was like, did somebody come in this summer and build a whole town, and then it got cold, and they're like, holy crap, this is crazy. Like I couldn't understand why you would make a whole town in this place that was brutal for like 4, 5, 6 months out of the year. Okay, neither here nor there. So I go to New York, and I love New York, but New York was cold, and I was dragging my bag up these concrete steps from the subway, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm out. So I came to LA, and I could see LA really for what it was, though. So it was like very nice, really cool. I could see that it was harsh, but like beautiful. So like LA's got a beautiful thing and a harsh underbelly, and New York's got a harsh thing, but kind of a realistic underbelly. And so I was like, okay, I get it. I'm going to LA. And so I sold everything in the house and packed up the car and drove in like January through ridiculous snowstorms in Arizona and everything and got to LA.
Oh my God. I did a cross-country road trip from LA to Connecticut a few years back. I think it was in February, and we went through Vail, Colorado. I don't know if you went through Vail, Colorado.
We were going through Flagstaff. That was a really big mistake.
Oh God.
And like this was before everything was just mappable. So like 2010 or something. And so I'm like calling people like, how's the weather? Can you look? And they're looking on the computer. They're like, okay, it's snowing. And like literally I'm like managing things through the phone. It's like, I feel like I feel like it's like dinosaur times, right? Like 2010 is like a billion years ago.
Yeah. Well, I
right?
mean, but even like it's only 20 years ago that we were using Thomas guides. So
yeah, I never had one, but I remember like because they were just big maps and they looked super
huge.
confusing to me.
They're
I was
insane.
like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'm out. I can't. Like I just knew my attention span and
you
the
knew your
Thomas
limit.
guide.
You're good.
Yeah, I would just like pull over and be like, hey, Olive. Do you guys know where Olive?
Help. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Do you know what lies within nothing?
No.
Do you know where it ends? Do you want to know?
Yes. Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.
And back to the show. So you get to LA, and then was your agent in Chicago? Did they like set up anybody in LA for you, or were you just like free balling again?
Okay, so all right, so I'm always looking for signs. This is my life. So I think it's time to go to LA, right? But I don't know. So I'm like, okay, God, I need signs. So I had met someone in Chicago when I went to IRTA. And after I'd said, I think I need to move to LA, I wanted some signs. I got an email from this guy who's like, "Hey, are you in LA yet? I just got here and da 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 da." And I was like, "No, I'm not there yet." And then this other guy I had done a short film with in Chicago. I got another text like that same week. "Hey, are you in LA yet? I'm working on the CBS lot and I'd love to take you around." And I was like, "That's crazy." And then I got another email from this guy. They had this 24-hour theater thing, 48-hour theater thing in Chicago. So theater was like 20, just every like day and night, all day for 48 hours.
Holy
And I
Lord.
met this, yeah, it was crazy. Different acts, really fun. And I met this guy there, and he had texted me. And he goes, "Hey, are you in LA yet?" And he goes, "I'm gonna be traveling to Germany for a couple of months doing my show and need someone to watch my cats." Like, so he lived in Venice, like 2 blocks from the beach.
Wow.
And was like, "I need a person to house sit for some months." And I was like, okay. Even the guy I was dating, then he was like, "I think you have to go." And I was like, right. It was just so surreal.
Yeah.
And so I met him in Chicago. He gave me the key. He didn't know me at all. And I remember he gave me the key and he's like, "Don't screw me." I was like, okay.
You got it.
Right. And so I sent the kids to the South where I'm from for like, I always do that for like 6 months while I get the place and the school together. And then I got to this little 1-bedroom house. One was an alley cat, completely feral, like completely dangerous. And the other one was fine. And there was a weird monkey lamp and a banana. That's what I walked into. And I was just like, am I safe here? Is something really weird going on? But it ended up being such a great
Ashton Kutcher hiding? Am I being punked?
Oh my gosh. And after I drove all those hours, it's in Venice. So this is before Venice was this Venice, this posh Venice. This was old school Venice.
This was Venice.
Right. So like I get there and I've been driving for something like 20 hours. Because this other girl was with me, but I was really scared to let her drive during the snow. So I just was driving. And I was so exhausted, so tired, so helped up on like no dose and caffeine. And there was a gang fight right outside the door. And I was just sitting there and I was just like, I really wanted to go and be like, "I'm sorry, guys. I just need like 2 seconds. I just need to get right. If I could just get in there."
Excuse me. I know that you're in the middle of a gang fight.
I'm
Can
so
I
tired.
just get in really
I've been
quick?
driving for so long. I was like, I'm delirious and I'm tired and I just want to go to sleep.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
didn't though, because I thought, I don't know this place. Can't. So I just kind of parked and I drove around a little bit until they finished fighting. And then I went in and saw the cats and the banana and the monkey. I was just like, it was just the weirdest introduction to California.
I love it.
So
It's like
anyway,
a scene from a movie, truly.
So then, I think I just started doing stuff. So that was like backstage and Actors Access and LA casting was going on then. So I just was like submitting everywhere. And I ended up like submitting for this reality show. It was an acting reality show back then. On like Entertainment. I don't know, one of these, I can't even remember, but it was all about acting. And you could it was this competition where you would win an agent. So I was in LA, but then I kept having to go back for some extreme personal reasons to Chicago, and I was unable. They kept calling me to come in for this thing, and I was like, I can't. And then finally I got back, like exhausted from a lot of personal trauma, and they called me and they were like, "This is our last episode. Are you here?" And I was like, "I actually got back like today." And they were like, "Can you come here in like a couple hours?" So I had lost like 20 pounds over like that previous couple of months just from caregiving and stuff. So I had to go like buy all new stuff. I ended up doing this acting show, and it was the only version of the show that had a prize. So I actually won that show, won the Aegis, and I won my first SAG commercial.
Oh my God.
So that's actually how I joined SAG. It was just such a ridiculously bizarre thing. And that was sort of my intro to LA.
Wow.
Really crazy.
That is crazy.
I haven't thought about that story in so long, Jillian.
That is so wild.
So wild.
Wow.
Yeah, that was wild. And then like those agents, I remember like going to the cast parties and stuff, and Viola Davis was there before she was like Viola Davis with her lovely husband, and and then that's when I started to see some other craziness in the industry. But yeah, that was sort of my intro to and how I got, because people would be like, "How did you get your SAG card?" I was like, it's a different.
You're like, listen, You
Let's talk
cannot
about how
follow
you
my
are going to get your
example.
sad card, because you're not going to get your sad card
Yeah.
like I got myself.
You just can't. You just
Not gonna happen.
can't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've done so many cool things. You've, done Grey's Anatomy and CSI and all these awesome cool things. But I'd love to talk to you about your new film, which is
Yeah.
Sound of Hope, The Story of Possum Trot. It's in theaters now. What
Yeah.
is the movie about? Tell us about your character. Tell us all the fun stuff.
Oh, so it's an amazing story, and it's a true story. And that's the first time I really got to do like a story inspired by true events that I didn't write myself, and of a person who actually exists. So it's a story of this rural town in Texas called Possum Trot. And it's funny, I did Good Morning Dallas to promote it, and I was like looking up where Possum Trot was, because I was going to do this whole bit about like, oh yeah, Possum Trot, it's only like, you can't find it, it's nowhere on the map, Google has no idea where Possum Trot is, it's that small still in 2024. And the small town of 22 families adopts 77 of the hardest to adopt kids in the foster care system, and basically wipe out the whole crisis in their town. So it's led by my sister, who's the first lady of this church, and her husband, who's the bishop of a church. And they just give the call to the community, like, we have to save these kids. So I'm the first to adopt. She was already a single mom, and she adopted 3 other kids to come into her family, which is just incredible. As a single mom, I'm like, she is so much better than me. I feel so like, I'm just, so I think it just really humbled me and made me really want to give this character so much attention and justice and authenticity. It was really important to me to capture what that spirit is that says, I am already struggling. It is already super hard, but you know what? Other people have it worse than me. I have to help. Like, such an amazing story. It's set in this small town. I'm from a small town. I'm from the Bible Belt. This is the Bible Belt. So it just really spoke to me as soon as I read it. And excited to really have people see it. It turned out so lovely. I think everyone who watches it is touched. Everyone who's seen it, even my harshest critics, have just really loved the story. So I think it's inspiring. I think it's heartfelt. And I think we were really able to capture the essence of their community, of their love for each other, and their faith.
It sounds amazing, and it's so wild.
You gotta go see it, Jillian.
I know, I need to. It's so wild to me that such an inspiring and truly wild story hasn't gotten more attention over the years.
Right. Well, you know what? It was big in the 90s, like in the early 2000s. So they were on Oprah. They were on Good Morning America. Walmart did a whole thing, because they're in the, I don't know where you're from. I don't know if you know these rural towns I'm talking about, where there's like dirt roads and no stop sign.
I've seen them when I've visited.
On your drive to California, you probably
I've seen them. Like, I've gone to Oklahoma and Texas, and I've been in smaller areas for little bits of time, but not
these rural. So I think Walmart came in and built some like recreational stuff. So like, while it was happening, it was very popular, and the pastor wrote in a book. But yeah, this is the first time, I think, on a grander scale, or in our more generation, or that we can history of knowing about it, because I don't remember it from those times either, but it did get attention then. And so grateful and thankful that they're getting their much deserved flowers now, the attention that they deserve. And just really, really happy to be a part of that.
What was the filming like for this? I mean, it's a small town, so did they go to a small town, or was it built? Like,
we filmed in Macon, Georgia.
Okay.
Which is a little town, but wild. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in Macon. I was like, what's happening here? These little towns are different.
Surprises everywhere.
When I was growing up, I was like, these little towns have changed. But it's cool, they would be like horses, or like just pastures of cattle, like, so, and just, I will say, the set design was amazing. So these old cars, and, oh God, the 90s clothes, which I had sort of forgotten because I was kind of young, but now I was like, I hate all of these clothes. High-waisted jeans, everything tucked in with the belt. I was like, this is members only jackets. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but
How much teal was there? Because teal was the color of the
Polyester,
90s,
so much
right?
polyester and print. Just
Yes.
print. And I was like,
Just
you
print
know, I'm a
everywhere.
hippie lady. I'm not a teeny tiny lady. So it's like, I'm in these print shoulder pads. So that was really cool though to do a piece that kind of harkened back to that. So all of those things really put you in the world. And at one point, they even came out. So my character came out, and the bishop and first lady, and a bunch of people
Oh,
from the church.
wow.
So we got to meet them. How awesome is that? Really, really amazing. And they were, as you think they would be, salt of the earth.
Mm.
Still, like, as soon as they meet you, just saying, just empowering you and giving you affirmations and praying over you, and just incredible. Like, you can see, like, oh wow, this is this heart that allowed them to say, all right, bring these people in. There were like 18 or 19 siblings in the community, so the mom had like tons of kids.
Wow.
And they say that they love their mom so much. It was actually the death of her mom that inspired my sister to want to adopt, and then I came along board. But they all spoke so highly of her and said how she nurtured each and every one of them. Of the 18 I think grew up together.
That's so wild.
Isn't that incredible? And she said they all felt loved equally, and she loved them collectively. And so you can feel that love that they got still with them. And I think that's part of what helped them be able to do this incredible thing that they did.
Epic.
Amazing people.
Epic. Everyone needs to go see it. I love it.
Yeah, really.
Well,
Yeah.
we're at the point of the show where I ask my guests to share an audition story. That can be something funny from the past, or the one that got away, or whatever it is that you wish to share. Do you
Well, in
have a
keeping
story?
with, I do, I got a bunch of stories. But in keeping with the film, I'll tell a
Yes.
story from just turn my phone off. Okay, so this film kind of is almost the one that got away, right? So I was in
Oh.
South Carolina, and I did this audition. I just put a sheet up, did the audition really quick, came back to LA and forgot about it, and then booked it straight off a tape. So then I was all packed and ready to go. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're pushing your shoot date till Friday. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we're pushing your shoot date actually until next week. And then it was like, actually, sorry, you don't have this role anymore. Okay. So I was just like, what's happening right now?
Whiplash.
I know, real whiplash. And then I was like, all right, well, let's just pay me out this contract and I'll go to Europe for like a month. I was trying to take everything in stride. And then about a week later, they were like, you know what? We made a really big mistake. We want you back on the project. Oh my God, like madness. I was like, what is happening? So many emotions, as you can imagine, good, bad, and ugly. But then I spoke to the team, and they sort of explained the different changes and said, oh, we made mistake, and you guys, we really want this cast. And so they had been filming for like a week. So they had scrapped their week of filming. I flew over, and we started right away, and now we're here. So that's
wild.
my one that got away and then somehow got recaptured, and I reeled it in story.
I mean, yeah, the emotional roller coaster that you must have been on.
Literally, my bag's packed waiting at the door for
Oh my
like
God.
2 weeks while they kept being pushed. It was bad. I'm telling the story a lot better than I took it at the
Well, we've
I
made it
didn't
to
take
the
it that
better
way.
side of it, so
Yeah, absolutely.
amazing. Well, what's next for you? I mean, you've directed as well, you've written. What's on the
Yeah.
horizon in your life?
Right. Oh, so many things. So I'm super excited to I'm expanding the short. I don't know if you directed features or shorts, but so I started with a short that's now I'm expanding, which that's really exciting. The film itself is broken, and its subject matter is mental health. So I'm a very big mental health advocate. And this month I'm doing some virtual panels for caregivers. So all about self-care and self-love and nurturing the people who nurture others. And excited about expanding that as sort of a lifestyle brand. So doing healing journeys and, different content that we're creating for people to really, women especially, to really learn those boundaries of caring for yourself so that you can be there for other people. A lot of times we get burnout. I get burnout. I
Yeah.
certainly have burnout over the years, right?
Yeah.
And just really like helping people learn from those things that I've gone through so that they don't have to repeat those same errors. So doing that, and then I also have what I was AAA masterclass, and it's based on performance and accent training and peak performance, kind of emotional mental state. So yeah, my that's the space I've carved out. Really, that entertainment, but sort of also advocacy through entertainment. That's the part that really fulfills me and moves me. And yeah, and then we'll see what other scripts come up next. And yeah, so but really a full gambit
I
of
love
things.
it. You got to
Right.
stay busy. And you have to have other interests outside of,
Oh,
only auditioning and or only writing. Like you need to
yeah.
have other things going on, otherwise you go
Oh
crazy.
no, that's well, I always say, like, to wait until whatever, to wait until you get here or accomplish this to start to live is not living. Like our life is
Exactly.
right now. And also what I realized, I'd done this pilot that got picked up for series, and then after a while got canceled. And I actually just I know that's the actor life, but I also just felt like I wasn't living a really interesting life. So I didn't feel like I had a lot of interesting things to even offer. I was very bored with auditioning. I was just bored, like with LA. And that's when I kind of went off to Europe, and I lived in Italy for a year during the pandemic, and was in France for about 8 months.
Excuse me?
Yeah, yeah. I was in Bali last year for about 4 months. So I'm very big on travel.
Love
My
that.
healing journeys is a really huge thing. Like, and that makes you so much more of an interesting person
Yeah.
to write, to tell your stories. You experience cultures, you experience the
Mm-hmm.
world. I actually started my accent training in Italy with
Oh my God.
foreign actors who wanted to learn the American accent, because I got there and I was like, I would like to stay here.
Yes.
What can I do? And that's how the school started, actually. And I only moved the principle of it here for Southern accents. I'm Southern, actually. I don't actually talk like this. This is not how I was born speaking. But teaching people to communicate better, or to even get to neutral so you can take on other roles and
Yeah.
just make your characters richer, right? So yeah, no, very, very, very big on being a global citizen. The the advantages of travel are more than I could even say, but it makes you a more interesting person, gives you a richer life, and it can give you a richer just outlook when you're doing characters, when you're directing, when
Mm-hmm.
you're writing your pieces or content or film or movies, whatever you're doing. Travel makes everything better, in my opinion.
Well, take me to Italy the next time you decide to move there for a year. Thank you very much.
You gotta come. No, it's fabulous. My next trip, I think, is Bali. I think I'm gonna do some travel to Bali, and I might get a little exclusive group
Ooh,
together for that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm calling them healing journeys. I really feel like after my mom passed away, and after a terrible Italian relationship, um, actually, Bali was such this source of, and people, you'll hear people who come from there all the time about just honestly how beautiful and supportive and
Mm,
healing. There's like something really amazing about Bali. They call it the land of the gods, and there is something incredibly nurturing about that place.
I'm
So for the
down.
yeah, for the burnout, for the tired, for the where am
Yeah.
I going? What is this? It's a perfect place. So I'm gonna do a little pilot program, I think, in December, to take
Fun.
some people there and see if they experience it in the same way. Take them kind of along my journey, and see what happens in their lives, because it's a life-changing place.
That's so cool. I love that. Well,
I think
keep
it's
me
very
updated. And how can people follow you on social media to keep up with all the things that are happening in your life?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram at the only Jillian, though today clearly I am not.
That hurts.
The only Jillian with a J. That's before people started to do the I am Jillian Reeves. I didn't know about that. So that was like my
It's
only thing.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We've
Today we're
connected. It's
sharing.
fine. It's
We're
fine.
sharing. Also, JillianReeves.com is kind of a hub where you can find my classes and my lifestyle stuff and caregivers. All my hub is JillianReeves.com. And then to reach me, to connect, Instagram is the best. The only Jillian.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm very excited to see this movie and see what you come up with next and follow your journey.
Thank you so much. Yes, come see it, you guys. Your support in the theater is huge. The more people support in the theater, the longer we are in the theater. And it's such a beautiful film. It really is.
Thanks again to Jillian for stopping by the show and hanging out with me. Make sure to check out Sound of Hope, The Story of Possum Trot in theaters now. Tune in next time for my conversation with Laura Wolf. She's in the brand new series Those About to Die on Peacock, which is out July 18th. We had a lot of fun together, and I'm just loving all these awesome people that are just living their lives to the best. And I hope you do as well, because it's summer if you're on my side of the world. And we deserve to have a good summer. So go out there. Get to the beach or the park or whatever your nearest nature route is and go enjoy it. And as always, thanks for coming in.
Talmor, Sheshin Marachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go Network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.